In episode 4 of Easygoing Territory Defense by the Optimistic Lord, Vaughn gathers the villagers and speaks to them directly. He declares that he will fight for everyone, but admits that he cannot protect the village alone. He asks them to lend him their strength so they can defend the village together. Moved by his sincerity, the villagers immediately agree, promising to fight side by side. Vaughn thanks them and orders everyone to man the ramparts, and the village springs into action without hesitation. Compson reports that Ortho and the hunting party are away from the village. Realizing this, Vaughn decides to remain below and coordinate the defense. He asks Dee to go up to the ramparts and report the situation from above while he issues orders from below. From the ramparts, Dee reports that around 40 armored lizards are approaching, each standing roughly 8 meters tall. Even veteran knights would struggle to defeat a single one, making the situation extremely dangerous. Hearing this, Vaughn orders Dee to load iron bolts into the ballistae. Trusting Vaughn completely, Dee commands the villagers to load the iron bolts and fire. When the ballistae release their bolts, the iron projectiles pierce straight through the armored lizards, killing them instantly. 10 lizards fall in the first volley. Dee realizes that this is the true power of the ballistae Vaughn created. However, there is only one iron bolt left for each weapon, and many enemies still remain. The second volley is fired, bringing down even more lizards, but the iron bolts are now completely exhausted. However, Vaughn orders Dee to use wooden bolts instead. Trusting his lord's judgment, Dee orders the wooden bolts to be loaded and fired. The wooden bolts lodge into the lizards' heads and joints, restricting their movement. The immobilized monsters are easily finished off, and volley after volley brings them down. In the end, every armored lizard is defeated. The village suffers no injuries, and only a small number of bolts are used. After the battle, Ortho organizes the harvesting of the lizards. He instructs the villagers to preserve the eyes, fangs, and magic cores while discarding the rest. Thanks to the knives Vaughn made, the work proceeds quickly. With an enormous amount of meat available, Vaughn announces a victory feast, and the village celebrates for the first time in a long while. Ortho explains that each armored lizard could sell for about 20 gold, but after spoilage and transport costs, the profit would be around 8 gold each. With 40 lizards, the total exceeds 300 gold. Esparta warns that earning over 100 gold means half must be paid as tax to the marquis, and such profits would immediately draw attention. Vaughn worries that if his father learns the village has value, he will be reassigned elsewhere and lose the peaceful life he wants. Esparta proposes a solution: report the achievement to Vaughn's older brother and let him take the credit. Vaughn agrees, realizing it benefits both sides. Soon after, merchants Bell and Rango arrive, shocked that such a remote village defeated so many armored lizards. Vaughn introduces himself as the village lord and asks them to purchase the materials. They agree and arrange transport, accepting some of the meat for free. Vaughn then shows them the weapons made in the village, which deeply impress them. Rather than allowing the merchants to monopolize the weapons, Vaughn advises them to open a shop directly in the village. This way, profits will increase naturally without drawing unnecessary suspicion. When they agree, Vaughn immediately constructs the shop using his abilities, stunning the merchants. Later, Esparta pushes Vaughn to think about the village's future. He insists that the settlement should be developed into a fortress town capable of housing 10,000 people. Though hesitant, Vaughn accepts the idea and proposes a star-shaped fortress design. He explains that attackers would be forced into exposed positions and could be attacked from multiple directions. Esparta agrees that the design is highly effective. An urgent report interrupts Vaughn when Arb announces that an emissary from neighboring Fortunato County has arrived. Vaughn calmly receives them and introduces himself as the lord of the village. The visitors are Panamera Carriera Cayenne, a newly appointed viscountess who rose from knighthood, and Arteon Fortunato, the youngest daughter of Count Fortunato, who has come to formally pay respects on her father's behalf. After seating them, Panamera immediately tests Vaughn, remarking on how composed he is despite being younger than Arte. Vaughn deduces that they are here to assess him as a potential enemy and possibly win him over. Panamera is surprised that an 8-year-old saw through their intentions so easily and confirms his guess. She explains that Vaughn was given land bordering Fortunato County and the kingdom of Yeleneta, which makes the count wary. The fear is that Vaughn might act as a spearhead for Marquis Fertio's ambitions. At the same time, the fact that such a young prodigy was sent to a remote village suggests he cannot use elemental magic. Vaughn admits this openly, stating he has no aptitude for elemental magic, but denies having any hostile ambitions, explaining that he was simply exiled by his father. Panamera rejects this explanation, pointing out that Vaughn has transformed a tiny village of about 100 people into a fortress-like settlement in a very short time. She assumes that thousands of troops must have been sent with him to establish a new military outpost. Vaughn explains that he was sent away with nothing but Compson and a carriage of luggage, without even a proper farewell from his family. When Panamera questions the presence of his knight, butler, and maid, each explains their reasons. Dee followed Vaughn out of admiration and belief in his future, even ignoring orders from the chivalric order. Esparta chose to retire and follow Vaughn, seeing it as a meaningful final chapter of his life. Till serves Vaughn because he treats people of low status with respect and genuinely cares for others. Vaughn concludes that this is the simple truth behind his situation. Still unconvinced, Panamera asks how the village itself changed so drastically. Vaughn offers to show her directly. On the spot, he creates a permanent structure, shocking both Panamera and Arte. Vaughn explains that his aptitude is production magic, widely considered the most unfortunate type of magic. He reveals that the moment his father learned of this ability, he was driven out, which is why his father remains unaware of his true power. Panamera openly criticizes the Marquis for wasting such talent, noting that production magic could have vastly expanded his influence. Panamera then reveals her true mission. She was instructed to offer Arte's hand in marriage to Vaughn. Vaughn realizes this was meant as a political move to neutralize him. He firmly declines, stating that while he intends to continue developing the fortress town, he has no desire for conflict, and marriage is unnecessary. Panamera admits that she originally opposed Arte's engagement, believing life in a remote village under a child lord would bring her misery or danger. However, after seeing Vaughn firsthand, she changes her stance and says she would welcome the marriage. Arte is flustered and unsure, admitting she thinks Vaughn is a good person but has not thought that far ahead. Vaughn agrees, saying marriage is too important to decide quickly and that they should take their time. Panamera accepts this and decides to stay the night. Since there is no suitable lodging, Vaughn instantly creates an inn. During dinner, Vaughn speaks gently with Arte, asking about her interests. She shyly admits she likes cute things such as flowers and dolls. Vaughn shows genuine interest and asks to see her dolls another time, which makes Arte visibly happy. Later, Arte thanks Vaughn privately. She admits she was extremely nervous about the engagement, but after meeting him, she feels relieved because of his kindness. Vaughn reflects that he must have made a good impression. Esparta observes that Arte was likely sent away for similar reasons as Vaughn, lacking elemental magic. Vaughn resolves to prioritize Arte's wishes, saying she can stay in the village whether they become engaged or not, and she is free to return home if she wants. And that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.